Today I want to talk about lead sheets. I have the lead sheet for Amazing Grace, and before we really get going, let's give a shout out to pianosongdownload.com. This was a free download, and so you might want to go to pianosongdownload.com and see what other free stuff they might have for you. So, this is a particularly nice lead sheet for Amazing Grace because they have included the melody line here on the staff. Now, often when you get a lead sheet, you don't get that. You get the chords, you get bar lines, maybe. You get the time signature, the key signature, beats per minute, key changes. You get information on the arrangement of the song, whether it's verse, chorus, bridge, that kind of stuff. But anyway, let me just say that once you get started using lead sheets, there's almost no going back in a way for some people because they like them so well. But here's the deal. If you can analyze this, then you can definitely do this. But the reverse is not true. Just because you can do this, play a lead sheet, does not mean that you can analyze this. And we want to be able to do both. We want to be able to make a beautiful piano arrangement using this, and we want to be able to accompany using this. And accompany is kind of the key word here for a lead sheet. A lead sheet, because it doesn't usually have this melody here, is for accompanying. And so you don't really need that much information. As long as someone knows the song and they're leading it and you're just following along, you'll be okay. But just a regular lead sheet without this, if you don't know how the song goes, then you're kind of sunk. So anyway, before we continue, let's figure out a few things. Now, one of the most important things to do is to figure out where the song stops. So here we have the first ending has a repeat, and we go back to here, and then we skip the first ending and go to the second ending. So it's very important to know where the repeats are, where the song ends. And as the pianist, that's your job. So let's look here. We have a pickup measure. We have one beat here, and let's just assume, since there's no chord over it, that this is the key of G, so we can use a G chord right here. So let's go ahead and get started here though. So notice that they have written in the chords for you. We will determine here in just a few minutes to see if they agree with the hymnal chords that we analyzed earlier and see if they made any changes. Now, so here's basically what you do. The G chord stays into play until the chord changes. And so whenever the chord up here changes, that's when you change. So what we would do here is we would let the left hand play a G octave, and that's kind of mid to low bass area on the piano keyboard. And at the same time that the left hand plays a G octave here, the right hand will be playing a G chord kind of in the middle of the piano. And then, since the chord isn't changing yet, we will keep a 3-beat pattern. So we'll play G, 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 very steady to fill this measure. So left hand's playing a G octave one time, right hand's playing G, G, G. When we get here, the left hand will play a G octave again, and at the same time the right hand will play a G chord and another G chord. When we get here, the left hand switches to a D octave and the right hand plays a D7. Here, the left hand switches to an E octave and the right hand plays 2 evenly spaced E minor chords, because see, there's 2 beats there. So we need 1, 2, and then on the third beat, the left hand plays a C octave and the right hand plays a C chord. So we continue. Here, The left hand plays a G octave, the right hand plays G chords, and that pattern continues all the way until we get to this D7. Now, I notice here that the D7, let me just say, there's a couple of things that the arrangers of this lead sheet did that I wholeheartedly approve of, and that's right here at this D7. They created a D7 here, and not only that, but look at this dotted half note that is tied to this quarter here. Now, so that's 4 beats with a quarter rest right here. So let's take a look at the actual sheet music and see what it does. So it's Saved a Wretch Like Me, so it's right there. Here's Saved a Wretch Like Me. Notice, this is a G chord. And it's 2 beats. And then you go straight into the next word, I. So to me, that seems abrupt. And so I really do appreciate the arrangement here where they held me out longer. Now, here's the deal. Chances are the person leading the music has no clue that this is happening. They either are used to singing Amazing Grace holding it this way, or they're used to singing Amazing Grace holding it this way. So what do? You do what they do. And so you, as an accompanist, have to pay really close attention to the leader. And so just stay with them. Now, you're the pianist. This is your job to know this, to figure these things out. That's why this is so important. And so anyway, let's continue. Now, so the left hand would play, of course, the D octave here, and the right hand would play the D7 chords, 1, 2, 3, and then when we get here, let me scroll a little. Notice that's tied, but you know what you're going to do? You're going to play a D octave again, and you're going to play a D7th chord right here. See where that rest is? You're going to play another D7th chord and another D7th chord, because remember, this is the vocal part. What we are doing is we are providing an accompaniment, so that's different. Now here, the same thing. You just go to G and you keep a steady, even 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you just keep going until the song ends. Now, one thing about playing for congregational worship or things like that, again, I said that traditionally we're not supposed to play the melody, but if you have weak singers or people whose rhythm is bad, sometimes you have to kind of subtly bang it out. No, sometimes you have to subtly kind of play that. That way everybody kind of stays together. And so just kind of, when they say play it by ear, that takes a lot into account there. So anyway, let's go to the piano and see what this sounds like.